Hello, everyone. This is my week 1 reporting for how it's going on the 4 and 2 program on MetaFast instead of the 5 and 1, since I decided to start going to the gym and lifting some weights to get toned and in shape. So Monday, I created a video letting you know that I was going to be doing these follow-up videos and that I was testing out to see how it was going to go, shifting to the 4 and 2, and then I headed off to the gym. And I showed in the last video, I have a heart rate monitor that goes underneath my chest, and then it reports onto a watch that I have telling me how many calories I've burned. So on Monday, I kept the heart rate monitor on all day, and when I went to bed that night, I had burned 2,379 calories that day. So obviously really glad that I've shifted to the 4 and 2, because the 5 and 1 just is not enough calories to sustain that type of exercising. So I think that day I burnt 550 calories at the gym. I can't remember, but somewhere around there. So then Tuesday, I went to the gym again and kept my heart rate monitor on. And that day, I had a little bit of a lower day at the gym. I think it was more like 475 calories I burnt while I was at the gym, for a grand total that day, interestingly enough, quite a bit higher, of 2,813 calories. So interestingly enough, that night I went to bed and had a really heavy chest. My kids have kind of been sick, and so I took some NyQuil that night just because I kept kind of getting that weird tickle and coughing, and I couldn't get to sleep. So the next morning, woke up not feeling good, knowing I wasn't going to be going to the gym. So I took some more Dayquil during the day because my throat was kind of bugging me as well. And I had my daughter home for 3 days last week with this weird virus with her throat. Anyhow, so I did not go to the gym on Wednesday. So in my brain, I thought, well, if I'm not burning the extra calories, I might as well eat the 5 and 1 so that I'm not adding extra calories. Well, by that night, I was starving. I was starving all day long. And luckily I was on a coach's call, and I asked a couple of the coaches what they thought. And they were like, well, Gwen, you're still burning your calories even though you didn't go to the gym today. And that's why you're so hungry. So Thursday, even though I didn't go to the gym, I still shifted back to the 4 and 2 and ate 2 lean and greens that day. Well, luckily, because I think because I was eating all of the MetaFast food that is perfectly balanced so that my body was staying in harmony, if you want to say, with my sugars, excluding the Dayquil, because I know that has some sugar in it. And then I was popping doTERRA On Guard pills like they were M&Ms, and not that I sell doTERRA, but I do believe the essential oils definitely can kill junk going on in your body. I recovered. I didn't end up getting totally sick and debilitated for a week. So Friday, I decided to go to the gym and forgot the heart rate monitor, and felt great because, again, the day before, I ate the 4 and 2. Friday, then again, I ate the 4 and 2. And then Saturday morning, I decided I was going to step it up and actually start going to the classes that they have at the gym. I've never gone, and they have a lot of like body pump and things. And I really want to get toned. I don't want to just go on the treadmill and burn 500 calories, because that doesn't really do a whole lot for your muscles. It just leans them out instead of like building to be toned. So I planned to go on Saturday morning to a 30-minute core class, because I figured, hey, I just stepped into the gym. I'm not quite ready for a whole lot of anything right now. So I go, and there's these gals in the back row with me that have like 50 pounds to lose. And so we're like grunting and groaning through the whole thing. And then the class is over. So I start packing my stuff up, and the one gal says, where are you going? I'm like, going to like cool down on the treadmill. She's like, suck it up. Step it up. Don't be a wimp. Stay for the next hour. It's I don't remember what kind of class it was where they were going to be doing weights and stuff. I'm like, okay. So I stayed, and I was so glad that I did, because, yeah, I needed somebody to call me out that I am capable of doing more than 30 minutes in a class that really kicked my tail. So at the end of the hour and a half, oh, yeah, it was painful. So anyway, again, I ate the 4 and 2. And then yesterday was Sunday, and again, did my lunch regular meal. And then for dinner, we went somewhere that there were really not great choices. So I didn't have the option of really having anything decent to eat. So it ended up being not lots of fat per se, but carbs, higher amounts of carbs than I normally would eat. But I'm like, the reality of life is we're not always going to be in a place that's going to have at least lettuce to give us our vegetable and lean meat for our meat. So it's what it was. So my scale still said the same as it did on Monday of last week. But here is the exciting thing about my inches, is that on my neck, Yeah, look at my neck. Um, my neck is down half an inch. Like, what the heck? I don't know. Anyway, then my chest was down half an inch, and underneath my ribs, which I do right here, and I like doing right underneath there because that gets really that back fat measurement, and that actually went down 0.25. But that's also why my chest went down half an inch, because that chest measurement includes that rib measurement. And then the other measurement that moved was my hips, and my hips went down half an inch. So guess what? I am thrilled with those results versus the scale not moving. And again, who knows? It could have just been the carbs that I ate last night, but I don't care. It's all about the inches. And so here's something that I always have people ask me is, how do I measure? Well, I always measure just wherever the biggest spot on your body is, because where you're going to be bigger, maybe in your ribs or your stomach, is not where I'm going to be bigger. So the measurements that I always take are my neck, my chest, so the biggest part around my chest, then my ribs right underneath my boobs, as high up as I can get, right there. Then my waist is the smallest part of my waist. Then my stomach is the biggest part of my gut. Then my hips are the biggest part of my hips. My thighs are normally, of course, at the top because that's where they're the biggest. And then I do a measurement around my knee because I'm one of those fortunate people that have a nice little sack of fat on the insides of my knees, which better go away. So anyway, that's how I measure. And again, as you lose weight, you are going to have those inches maybe shift a little bit of where you're measuring, but it doesn't matter. The inches are going down, so that's all that matters. So my overall review of week 1 on the 4 and 2 is, it is so important to feed your body. I can't believe how hungry I was on that Wednesday when I tried to do the 5 and 1. So my suggestion to any of you that are watching this going, well, I'm going to Zumba and I'm going and doing this stuff and I'm doing okay. Well, you know what? I would bet you money if you shifted to the 4 and 2 for even a week, your hunger is going to go down a bit, and you're going to be feeding your body what it needs, and it'll actually get it out of probably the starvation mode that it is in and actually help start moving your inches. So I would challenge any of you that are exercising for more than 30 minutes a day and raising your heart rate to shift to the 4 and 2 for a week to see what it is. And to me, I'm lazy. I love to cook. So on Monday, I went and made a double batch of the meat lasagna off of Sandy's Kitchen Adventures, and I added enough spaghetti squash on the bottom of the pan to make each serving a perfect lean and green. So if I remember right, it was 1 cup. It was 1 cup per serving. So Sandy's Kitchen Adventure recipe would have been 4 cups of spaghetti squash for her recipe, but because I doubled it and did a 9x13 pan, I actually did 8 cups of spaghetti squash, which, lucky for me, the spaghetti squash I cooked was a little over 8 cups, so it was just perfect. Put it in the bottom of the pan, did the Sandy's Kitchen Adventure recipe of the meat lasagna, and then I just cut it into the the correct squares and put a bunch of them in the freezer in little containers, and then every day for lunch, that's what I did, just to make it simple on myself. So I would love, if that's what you decide to do, for you to comment on this video on YouTube, just because I always like to see if what's working for me works for other people. Have a great week. I will report again on Monday, and let's hope for some even more awesome results. Have a great week. Bye, guys. Bye.